Welcome back, loyal scions. We are here, we are ready. It is time for the night review. We did an Imperium faction focus, but those peasants, frankly, are beneath us. This video is only for big stompy robots.
Oh yes, bigger and stompier, the better.
Absolutely. So, GW has released all of the Forge World rules today. They're live on the Warhammer Community website. We have them, we have the points. We are reviewing all of them right now, right here. So, hopefully you're as excited as we are for these Forge World rules. I know I personally am extremely excited. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Welcome to all of you who just joined the Warroom, and let's dive into it. If you like this content, make sure that you actually like this content. Click that like button, leave a comment below, let us know which knights you're excited to paint up for your collection, and of course, share with your friends, and then check out that link in the description below. That link, thewarroom.vhx.tv, is how you get a free trial to the War Room. So if you've been watching our content, or if you're new to us, and you kind of want to check out what's in the War Room, there's no better time than the beginning of 10th edition.
That's right.
Alright, let's start off with all these knights. So we're going to run into a lot of more classes of knights. So the Questoris and the Dominus class are like the two types of big knights in the main book. We now are getting new classes. So some of these, the enhancements that we saw in the the book from last week, aren't going to apply
Old news, John.
Old news.
I'm only interested in rules that come out today.
Exactly. It's the freshest, hottest rules. All right. So let's talk about the Acastus Knight Asterius. This is the big turtleback knight. This is the giant one that is somehow like twice the size of Extel. It's massive. T13, 2 up armor, 5 up invuln against range only, 30 wounds. It's a Castellan with +6 wounds. On defense.
That's pretty durable, not gonna lie.
That is still very durable. The Castellan's already durable. Now, what happens here? The Sunder of Fortresses means that it is +1 strength and damage against vehicles, +2 strength and damage against fortifications. So mostly relevant for vehicles here. But not monsters, just vehicles. What it comes with. So weapon-wise, it has no options. It just comes with 2 Volkite Culverins, 2 of the big conversions. So it is 12 shots at 602 dev wounds. 12 shots is nice. Then
and it's also strength 7, damage 3 against vehicles?
Strength 7, damage 3 against vehicles.
That's pretty
good.
Pretty good.
Especially with those dev wounds in there. Then the Karachnos Mortar Battery is D6 +3 at 611. Anti-infantry 2+ blast, ignore, cover, indirect. Pretty decent indirect fire here. Nothing crazy, but pretty good. And here's the big thing. It comes with a twin conversion beamer. Wait a minute, it comes with 2.
2 twin conversion beam
So
cannons.
it's 6 shots. 16 minus 2, 6 against strength 17, lol. Damage 7, lol, against vehicles. But it is sustained hits D3, twin linked, and conversion. That's weird, that's not a rule that exists, but they tell us what is right below. If you score a critical hit on a 4+ if you're more than 24 from the target. Wow, okay. So not good in half range, better above half range. This thing is designed to sit in the back and just blast shots downfield.
So the average number of hits you get is 6 shots, 10 hits.
Yeah, basically.
And since you reroll one of those hit rolls, it's probably 6 shots, like 12 hits is the average.
Yeah, this is actually a lot. Only AP2, since it wants to be far away, it's very likely there's some cover. Only AP2 is a little bit of a bummer, but that is still a lot of wounds at a high damage.
Yeah, you just hand your opponent.
But it's still going to pop almost every regular tank, just like, oh, fail 2 saves and you're dead. Cool. Yeah. Because 2 saves is 14 damage.
Yes.
Very good here. I think that this is quite solid. As far as the points go, it is 730, a little bit rich. That is about...
It's a little high.
It's about 250 to like 240, I guess, more than like a Castellan, which is not insignificant, although it does hit harder. However...
Only hits harder if you're 24 inches away, otherwise it hits... Less hard.
Yeah. However,
you get 4 to 5 hits depending on whether you rolled any ones, and like the average is you probably get like 5 hits, and then you're re-rolling wounds at strength 16, AP2 damage 6. It's pretty good. But I do like the fact that you can fire the conversion beam cannons at separate targets and expect to get kills a decent number of the time if you're over 24.
And then the regular guns are actually just pretty decent, just like pointed to things. Okay, so that's the Asterius. However, the Asterius has a brother, the Porphyrion. And the Porphyrion is pretty interesting, I think.
Porphyrion is a lot cheaper.
Porphyrion, it does happen to be a lot cheaper. It's 645. That is 85 points cheaper. Same stat line. However, it gets lethal hits if it remained stationary.
Oh, it's towering.
That important. It's a big towering knight, very tough. Comes with basically either 2 autocannons or 2 las cannons, and then an Iron Storm missile pod. I think, how does this work? Iron Storm missile pod or Helios defense missiles. Okay, so either an Iron Storm missile pod, which is D6 plus 6 at 501 blast, heavy, and dark fire, or 3 shots at 10 to D6 anti-fly 2 plus. So
you're going to do that one.
I think you do that one. Just get more anti-tank shots in here is what we're going for. And then you can replace those 2 autocannons with las cannon. That's all very cool. Here's what matters. You get 2 of the twin Magna las cannon, which is blast twin linked, 2 of them. So essentially 2d6 blast, 18 minus 4 d6 plus 6.
It's pretty good.
This is really good.
That is a lot of damage.
That is going, like, each of these weapons could very conceivably kill a tank. You just need to get like 2 or 3 on the number of shots, and then you probably kill a Rhino.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty easy to pop 2 things. You can also, probably going to spend a CP on that, on number of shots.
Yeah, if you roll a 1 on one of them, that honestly is such a good weapon that I might actually just CP reroll that.
Yes. And you do get to reroll a hit roll of a 1, and that really helps out.
Yep.
Because if you roll 2 shots on one, 6 shots on the other, you resolve the 6 shots first. Oh, I killed you. Okay, 2 shots. Oh, reroll 1 of those, and you're dead.
And then, of course, it's twin linked, so it's wounding almost every vehicle on a 3. AP4 means saves are not ever going to be good. And then D6 plus 6 is every failed save just hurts.
Really, really.
Yeah,
really
I think this thing's amazing. I think this is really, really solid.
It's also, 85 points cheaper than its brother up above?
Yeah, this is way...
645.
This is way better than the Asterius. If they were equal points, this would still, I think, be better.
But 85
But
points
85
cheaper
points is
so much better.
All right, so let's hit some super chats real quick. Jeff Ashworth with the Knight Porphy, yes please. I'll say it again now that we're on the Porphyrion. This thing's great.
This thing rocks.
If you own a Porphyrion, congratulations. Your meme paint project has been rewarded. This thing is totally good enough to put on the table.
This is what a Castellan should do.
Yeah, honestly, if a Castellan just did this and cost 645, I wouldn't even be mad.
Yeah.
This is better than a Castellan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it shoots way harder than a Castellan. It is roughly an Armiger more. I don't care.
Does not get enhancements, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's not a character. Very weird.
Yeah.
So no enhancements at all. I don't care. This thing's worth it. I think that if you're going to take a big towering knight to just shoot people, the Porphyrion is now the best one that you have access to as Imperial Knights. Or in the Imperium. If I was going to take a Castellan, I wouldn't. I would just take a Porphyrion.
You get 1 knight for freezies, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you just get 1 in an Imperium army, yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather be a Porphyrion than a Castellan.
Yeah.
Every time. This thing's great. I love it. Don't let it explode in your army. We have another super chat from the Super Baharoth. So, the 2 huge guys aren't characters and can't take enhancements. Since the Rapier Laser Destroyers are infantry, can you bring them up with the Hades Breaching Drill? Yes, the 2 guys aren't characters, and yes, Super Baharoth, thank you so much for the super chat. You can bring the Rapier Laser Destroyers in with the Hades Breaching Drill. If you did that, they wouldn't get any orders. So you are just kind of sitting there with Ballistic Skill 5 2-shot las cannons, but still, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So yeah, Super Baharoth, you could absolutely do that. Again, Acastus Knight Porphyrion, I think it's money.
Yeah, I love this thing. This thing does a ton of damage, and 72-inch range means it's just shelling you from clean across the board.
Real quick, Jeff Ashworth put something in the chat. For the rerolls, for hit and wound is all 1s, not just a 1. GW confirmed it. Jeff Ashworth, could you please let me know where GW confirmed that? I am very interested in seeing that because I've been playing it the other way, and I would love to see them reverse that.
A Porphyrion at that point would ragdoll just about anything it points its guns at.
Yeah. This thing's great. I think this is awesome.
It can even kill a Gargantuan Squiggoth.
Yeah, like actually.
It actually just does. Reroll wounds. It's going to be wounding on 4s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This actually would just go boom.
Because you get like a 6-up if your tail of your Gargantuan Squiggoth is obscured, but that's not going to save you.
Yeah. Hilarious. Okay.
Here we go.
This is the Porphyrion.
All right, the Lancer.
We are now down to the Cerastus Knight. Okay. So, the Cerastus Knight Lancer, pretty good. This is the first time we're seeing the Cerastus profile. So, common thread here, 14-inch move, and normal knight is 10. T12, 3 up, 25 wounds, that's 3 more than a normal one, OC 10. 4 plus invulnerable save. The invuln is going to vary night to night, but the Lancer is a 4 plus.
And this one does not have the little asterisk that says it only applies in shooting.
That's only the Lancer so far.
Because it has the shield.
Because it actually has the shield.
Yeah.
So the Lancer is the one that's getting a plastic kit, which is both awesome and sucks, because I want to buy a Lancer right now. And if they hadn't announced a plastic kit, I already would have ordered one.
But the Lancer is sweet.
Sweet. Just the coolest thing. I want a plastic Lancer now. Absolutely. All right, let's look at what this thing does, because honestly, this is awesome. We're getting into bondsman abilities, but so let's actually go through the abilities first, because this is hyper relevant. While a model is affected by this ability, it is eligible to declare a charge in a turn which advanced. So basically, it picks one Armiger within 12 inches, it gets that. If it picks an Armiger, the Lancer itself gets that. Advance and charge on a 14-inch moving knight is now very fast.
Yes.
That is now speed.
Yes, that's very quick. It's very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a threat range without even advancing and charging 26. With it, it's 32. Like, what's the plan here? Are you going to stay 32 inches away, or are you going to...
Oh, man. This thing is fast.
You're inside 24. You are inside its average threat range. You're inside 25. You're inside its average threat range.
I love this.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does. I'm sorry. There's another thing. Shock charge. This model can tank shock for 0 CP, even if you have already done it this phase. It is strength 20, so you can just chalk 6 mortals onto its charge basically every time.
Yes. You do have to spend a CP for that, but you will.
You do?
Oh, no, you don't.
Yeah, you what?
Oh,
you
sorry.
don't.
My bad. Yeah, no.
0 CP, even if you have already targeted a different unit.
What you do need to make sure is that tank shock is when you charge, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is make sure you do your charge with other guys first. Do your tank shocks there, because the Cerastus Lancer can do it even if someone else already has. But if you go with the Lancer first, tank shock, then oopsie daisy, you can't actually tank shock with anything else.
Yeah, so anyways, you tank shock with someone, that's cool. Then you tank shock with Rex. Ooh, it's free. Then you tank shock with the Cerastus Knight Lancer. Ooh, it's free.
18 mortal wounds,
Blah.
1 CP, bang.
Blah. Incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Now, it does have some weapons. It has the Shock Lance, which is a gun. It's assault, very convenient. Thank you for that. Sustained hits 2. 6 attacks, 602. This is a cute gun. You're just rattling off some shots with the lance while you point at people. It's only 12-inch range, but being assault is nice because you just get to...
Yeah, you do some damage. And also AP0 matters a little bit less because 3-up saves still take 3-ups even in cover.
Exactly. Now the melee. This thing good. It's like a Gallant, but better in every way. 5 attacks, weapon skill 2, 20 minus 3, 8.
That's almost as good as a Squiggoth in combat.
I think it's better because he's 14-inch move, advanced, and charge, and does free 6 mortals on the way in.
Almost as good.
I'd say better. The sweep attack is weapon skill 2, 10 minus 2, 3, 10 attacks. So this guy is great in combat. He basically hits like Canis Rex without the sustained hits. He is in fact Lance on the charge, so I think he pops a Squiggoth in 1 turn.
Minus
on
1 to wound,
2s,
so he's
reroll
wounding
1,
on 3s.
wounds on 3s, reroll 1, did 6 mortals on the charge, you're down to 24 wounds, fail 3 saves, you're dead.
You can tank shock a tank?
You can tank shock anything you want.
I will say, a Squiggoth kills this thing in combat too.
Yeah, but I'm faster. This guy is great. Awesome. Love that. I think this thing's money. And the Lancer is not cheap, but honestly, 430 means it's not much more than the other knights.
Yeah.
And this thing is a mile better than a Gallant. Just infinitely better than a Gallant. I love the Lancer. I think this model's fantastic. I think this datasheet's fantastic. I don't think it's an auto take because the edition's a little bit shooty right now. And because he doesn't take advantage of being towering the way that others do. However, grand context of knights, this guy's awesome. I love him.
Yeah.
Makes your army combat armor real fast. Lancer, big success. Now we've got the Castigator. Same profile, but a 5-up invuln only against shooting. This is going to be the standard Cerastus thing, and he's 12-inch move, so still faster than a normal knight, but not quite as fast as Lancer.
I will say the bolt cannon is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bolt cannon is really good.
This thing is... The Castigator is slick. It's 425. Very reasonably costed.
This guy's a great ally. It doesn't bond.
You can't bond.
You need an ally. You need a dude to bond with.
So the knights are not nearly as appealing of an ally in my mind as they were before.
But the Lancer doesn't get to advance and charge in
Unless he's got a friend.
Unless he's got a homie.
Okay, so here's what the Castigator does. 18 shots at 6 minus 2, 2, 36-inch range. Wow, that's like a Warden. Twin-linked.
Also AP3 and sustained hits 1.
Whoa. But
We'll get there.
we haven't gotten there.
You talk about the Vulcan. You got to know
Shush.
about the 6-3-2 with sustained hits 1. Come on.
All right. In combat, pretty good. This is a relatively normal knight profile, but like good. I think it's slightly better than a chainsword, but not like significantly better. Here's the bondsman ability. Awesome. Is a model affected by this ability gets +1 AP, sustained hits 1. This is incredible on Helverins.
Yeah, Helverins love that.
Helverins love this one simple trick. Like this thing, Helverins shred when buffed by this guy. He is a character, so he could take the Epic Hero to give out double bondsmans. Him getting sustained hits 1's AP3 also means the Castigator Bolt Cannon just shreds people.
And if it does turn out... So we understand that Liam over at Tabletop Titans has talked to Games Workshop and whatnot. That's unfortunately not an official statement yet. We assume GW will get around to it. But as it currently is worded, you get 1 hit reroll for 1 and 1 wound reroll for 1. If that is a mistake, which it seems like it might be, we expect that Games Workshop will come out and put out some kind of rule that says so. Unfortunately, hearsay is not really admissible in court. But I will say, if this thing rerolls once to hit, this thing is gross at shooting. And also 2 Helverins. If you get the double bondsman and go, you, and those Helverins will wreck.
Suddenly Helverins are good again.
Yeah.
Just like that.
They just need AP2. Like, really, I think that's it. They need AP2. And the sustained hits 1 on top of that is...
Money.
Money in the bank.
Castigator is fantastic. Again, two here. 2 Cerastus Knights in a row. These are great. 425, I'm willing to pay that. It's a little bit more than some of the other knights, but it's a little bit better. I'm okay.
Yeah. The Castigator looks... It's also tall. It's a tall boy.
They're taller than a normal knight. They are big.
Yeah, they put their stats into height.
Yeah. They got the long legs. Okay. So, the Cerastus Knight Acheron is the Flame Boy. Same profile. But now its flame weapon is 2d6 Torrent Ignore Cover 812. So it's kind of like 2/3 of a Valiant. And it also just comes with the Twin Heavy Bolter, which is kind of cute. Its Reaper Chain Fist is...
It's fine.
14 minus 4, 6. It's fine.
Honestly, it's not great.
It's not great. No, it's not crazy. Here's what it does. Its bondsman ability is each enemy unit in engagement range must take a battle shock test at -1. Very funny for turning off stratagems, but battle shock is still a little bit overrated, I think.
Couple things. What's the second roll in the Cerastus up top?
What do you mean? Super Heavy
There were
Walker?
2. No, go up. Up. The Storm of Bolts.
Oh, this one. I think probably. You -1 to hit for something that you hit, other than monster and vehicle.
And also apparently Mythic Heroes Questoris locked only.
Oh well, then that wouldn't work.
Then you take one, and you take him and a Helverin.
Yep, and that's
that
okay.
one Helverin likes that.
He really does.
He really does.
But still, Storm of Bolts, quite nice. Forgot to skip over that. Back to the Acheron. Causing battle shock tests is pretty cool, but I don't love it.
No.
Not as much.
So this thing's 385, and in my opinion is super not worth it.
Its second ability is actually pretty decent.
Yes.
After this model is shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks with the flame cannon. Until the end of the phase, that enemy unit cannot have the benefit of cover. There are very few ways to ignore cover in knights.
Sure, but 385 cannot be the way you want to do it.
It's not that, but it's still like a knight. I don't think it's worth it, but also it's just worth noting that this is the only way to get ignore cover in knights. There are very few ways to get that.
I get that.
I don't think you take it.
I think,
but I just want to point it out.
For 385, it is pretty heavily overcosted. Its damage output in combat is fine. Its damage output in shooting is not great. Its bondsman ability is actively not amazing. And then Searing Flames is like fine, I guess, but I'm not spending 385 to get ignores cover on something. Yeah.
I'm with it. This is not as impressive as the first two.
No.
And we're not taking 3 Cerastus Knights, unfortunately. It's not in the budget. All right, the Atropos. This is my personal favorite, mainly because it's the one that I bought because it was my favorite. This is the very high-tech double gun one that turns its gun into a melee weapon. However, I don't know if it's quite as good as I want it to be here. So
it gets the 5-up pinfall all the time.
5-up pinfall all the time. So a little bit better there. That's actually one of the reasons why I bought it, was because it used to be able to rotate in combat for a 4-up pinfall. But comes with an Atropos Las Cutter and a Graviton Singularity Cannon. So we're looking at either 2d6 at 712 or d6 at 14 minus 3, 4. Sustained hits 1 either way. Pretty good gun.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. The Graviton Singularity Cannon is D3 shots, either hazardous or not. We're going to take hazardous, and we'll just get devastating wounds with it. So, D3 shots, blast at 16 minus 4 D6 plus 1. This is a very good popping a normal size tank.
It has some rules for the targets it prefers to go after.
It does indeed. While models affected by this ability, each time it makes an attack that targets Titanic or Towering, reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. And that's its bondsman ability, so that gives it to a friend.
Yeah.
And then this fine fellow himself, whenever he makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle, add 1 to the hit roll. If it's Titanic or Towering, also add 1 to the wound roll. This is honestly the best looking Cerastus. I'm with you on that. This and the Lancer, in my mind. These are really focused. This is a very focused data sheet. If you run into an infantry list, you're just not going to get your money's worth.
No, I also don't know if this has the number of shots. First of all, it's random number of shots, which into monsters and vehicles is not amazing.
Yeah.
Because if you roll a 2 on the D6 and a 1 on the D3, like I don't care that you're +1 to hit, +1 wound, reroll both.
Yeah. If you do get to reroll multiple ones, that +1 to hit feels even better.
Yeah.
But in general, this is really good at just killing, like, oh, you took a Gladiator Lancer, this guy alone solved that problem almost every time. All right, on to the next.
I will say, I don't think it has the number of shots to really crack the wound counts of Titanic and Towering, even if it has +1 to hit, +1 wound rerolls.
You just gotta pop off.
I mean, if you get 6 shots with the Las Cutter and 3 shots on the Singularity Cannon, you probably get there.
Yeah. But still, this thing isn't amazing. It's 385. It's one of the cheaper Cerastus Knights. I think because it's so specific and its bondsman ability is so specific. That's the big thing. If they'd reversed this, and its bondsman ability was the +1 to hit against monsters, vehicles, and also +1 to wound and Titanic or Towering, I would like it more, because then you could actually use it. But I feel like 90% of the games there's no Titanic or Towering, and then he doesn't have a bondsman ability, which means he doesn't help his friends.
Yeah, I don't love him.
I don't love him either. I love the model. I feel like he's a little too specialized, and he's not so amazing to overcome. Yeah, well, he's not amazing.
Yeah, if he were a really good Titanic hunter, Titanic, you show up to the table with knights, you see an Atropos, you're
anti-Titanic 4+ and all this or something, and then some dead wounds.
Yeah, you roll up to the table and you're just like, oh no! You tell your friends the bad beat story of how you ran into an Atropos, but I just don't think that's what he does.
Not quite.
All right, Megara, the one nearest and dearest to both of our hearts, I would say.
I do love the Megara.
Yeah.
I do love the Megara. He was a silly boy. He has taken quite a few changes. He has gotten cheaper. He has 390, which is cheaper than most of the other Questoris Knights. 390 is not expensive. Here's what he does.
Yeah, it is Questoris, so you can give him the upgrades. And
it is Questoris and is a character. The Lightning Cannon is now 12 shots, sustained hits 2. Wow, that's even better. 902.
Oh,
it's quite the downgrade from what it was before. I cannot stomach a big knight whose ranged weapons are AP 0. Just real talk. You can take a Hecaton Siege Claw. It's good. It's not great.
Well, how about you think of it this way, right? Don't think of it as being AP 0. Think of it as being AP 1, and he doesn't have a bondsman ability.
Yeah, but it's worse than that.
Yeah, it is worse than that.
So, and while a model is affected by this ability, ranged weapons equipped by the model have ignores cover. So you can get him ignore cover, but he's already AP dash. Could you at least AP 1 here?
Please.
At least AP 1, please.
I don't really know what's going on with that.
This guy's not doing anything. He does heal D3 wounds at the end of your command phase. That's cool. This is one of the other rare ways to get ignore cover. This shooting profile, not enough for me to take this guy.
I'll be honest, it's not terrible, right?
It's not.
If it is full rerolls 1s to hit and full rerolls 1s to wound, right? Not just 1. Mm-hmm. I could see it being fine for 390. But
I cannot imagine taking this over a Crusader or a Paladin.
Or Castigator.
Or a Cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a 5 benevolent than melee, because even though it doesn't have the rule, it does have an ion, flare ion shield, slightly better. But I think the Megara, what is just overshadowed now. However, there is the other option, which is the Questoris Knight Styrix, which is the one that didn't actually exist. You just used a Megara. Yeah. Uno reverse card.
Yeah. So the reason I said it's worth it a little bit more if you get rerolls once to hit and wound completely, is because you do put a lot of saves downfield. Mm-hmm. You do. It's fine. It's probably not worth it over replacement, but it is better. Because of all this, the exploding sixes and whatnot, doesn't have any inherent rerolls, has a lot of shots. Mm-hmm. Still, probably not worth it.
Yep. Okay. So, Questoris Knight Cyrix. Exact same bondment ability.
Weird.
A little weird.
I guess
it has
Styrax
grav pinned
and Megara have the same duty.
I guess they do, yeah. This has grav pinned instead of the healing D3 wounds. If an enemy infantry was hit by the Graviton Crusher, -2 to move advanced charge. Weirdly enough, the Grav Crusher wants to shoot at infantry to proc this roll. The Grav Crusher is anti-vehicle 2+. It's also blast despite being flat 3 shots. Just kind of weird. I'm just telling you what it is.
That's weird.
612. You just shoot this at infantry anyway.
And again, we get to AP0.
This is the Twin Rad Cleanser.
No, I'm talking, again, we get to a main gun that is AP0 with dev wound. Oh, not dev wounds. AP0 with main gun.
Dev
but
wounds.
it does have dev wounds. I'm saying.
Instead of sustained, it's basically the same. But instead of being, 12 shots, strength 9, it's 9 shots, strength 12. Instead of being sustained hits 2, it's dev wounds. I really wish that these two weapons had flipped. Yeah. The Volkite, the Volkite was 12 shot strength 9 and vice versa. Dev wounds does make this more appealing, significantly. But it's not reliable.
You could do 9 mortals. You could do 0. Nobody knows.
The Cyrix is 425. 40 more than a Megara.
Yeah, it could do a ton of damage. But probably won't.
Probably won't. I think both of these just pale to other Questoris Knights that we have access to now.
Yeah.
It's fine. There was a time when these were so much comically better than the regular Knights, but we're not there.
Speaking of which,
Armiger Moirax. I think this is the last one of the loyal versions. And so here we are with... it's an Armiger profile, 5 bin vuln, shooting only. It can heroically intervene for 0 CP even if you already have.
Must mean it's good in combat, right?
Must mean. It's 4 attacks at weapon skill 3, 12 minus 3, d6 plus 2. It's honestly better than a Warglaive in combat.
Yeah, it used to hit on 4s. Now it hits on 3s. I think that's a big change. Strength 12, AP3, damage d6 plus 2 is wildly better than a Warglaive's combat. Yes. Warglaive is 10 minus 3, 3, right?
It's 10 minus 3, 3.
Yeah, this is way better than a Warglaive in combat.
Yep. Yeah, the strength buff is actually significant because strength 10 on the Warglaive makes me cry.
D6 plus 2 is also quite good. And heroicing for 0 means that they just heroic when you have the option.
Yeah, so here's one quick note to make. A Moirax is 170.
Yeah, there are a lot of points.
Okay. It does come with a lot of guns. It can take basically any 2 of these weapons. They removed the rule where you could only have one of a conversion beamer. Conversion beamer is exactly what you think. If you're more than half range away, it gets critical hits on a 4 plus the sustained hits D3. 10 minus 2, 3, 1 shot each. Means 2 of them is 2 shots, but if you hit that 4 plus, you get D3 extra, and suddenly it's 4 hits. But little inconsistent.
No, I'm not a big fan.
Only 24-inch range also is a little weird.
Yeah, every time you shoot, you don't know if you're getting 10 hits or 0.
Well, no, I'm not getting 10.
You can get 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't know if you're getting 8 or 0.
Yeah, it's a little weird for me. Yeah. The Grav Pulsar is just a D6 shots blast. Anti-vehicle 2 plus, but 712 isn't that exciting to me.
Would have been a little more excited for 722 or 723 or something like that.
The Lightning Lock, sustained hits 2, 6 at shots, 801. I really wanted this to be 811. Really wanted that to be AP1 there. You can give it AP with things like the Castigator or a Stratagem, but frankly, none of these weapons are jumping off the page screaming, I'm 30 points better than the other Armigers.
Yeah, no, not really.
No. And then the Volkite 4 shots, dev wounds, 802.
I think that gun is fine. You take 2 of those 0-1s, but currently, again, it's not written that way, so if you have a larger number of shots, the real 1 is not as good as reroll 1. Yeah. So it really helps out larger number of shots if they do actually fix that. Yeah.
I am not super thrilled with the Moirax.
Nah, 170 is not great.
Yeah, an Armiger Warglaive is 140. This could be better than an Armiger, but it's not it's better combat.
It's better
But
than
then
a
it doesn't
Warglaive.
have a gun that's better than the Warglaive's gun.
It's definitely better than Warglaive in my
I
mind.
don't think it is. I would rather have the Thermal Spear and a Melt-A-Gun than any of these guns. Any of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, none of this is as good as a Warglaive gun. And yes, it is better in combat than a Warglaive.
By a bunch.
But I would rather have the better gun. And then a sweep attack.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's 30 points more. No,
Yep.
I hear you. All right. Sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would just rather have that.
Not ideal. All right. And we're done with Loyal Knights.
We're done with Loyal Knights. So, we're going to axe the Loyal Knights, work our way over to the Chaos Knights now. And I will say, a lot of these profiles are identical, and we're just going to look at how the points and the special rule are different. So I expect this one will be a little bit faster. The Chaos Knight Asterius is identical.
Exactly identical.
Exactly identical. No notes.
How are the points?
I believe also identical. Yep.
Yep.
The Acastus Knight Porphyrion is identical.
Completely identical, yeah.
Completely identical. These are also probably slightly better in Loyal Knights because they do have Loyal Knight rerolls.
Yeah.
Just a thing to note. But still,
not bad.
Rerolling a hit roll of 1 isn't that big when you're already twin linked. Still very good in Chaos Knight. Still very good here. Not a character, so cannot buy the enhancements because a lot of those are not Questoris.
So very similar, yes.
Abhorrent class only. Alright. I think these are still just as good as before. The Porphyrion's still great.
Yeah.
The Lancer is different. This is where we get to all of the ones that would have a bondsman ability, basically replace that bondsman ability with an aura of some kind instead. So the Chaos Lancer can tank shock for 0 CP, same as before, but is a 6-inch aura of it gives all war dogs assault for their weapons. That means he cannot advance and charge, they cannot advance and charge. They just all advance and shoot together.
That is worse. And also not having the rerolls is worse because it hits on 2s.
Indeed.
When you go into swing, you're going to roll A1 and you're not going to be able to reroll it.
It is 20 points cheaper, but that is not insignificantly worse.
Yeah.
So, cool. I don't think that the Lancer is nearly as appealing, though.
Yeah, I think it's a huge deal. The rerolling a hit roll 1, rerolling a wound roll of 1 with strength 20, 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, Lance, just means you're going to get like 3 wounds, whereas the Loyal one would have gotten 5.
Yeah, it does actually feel that way.
Yeah.
That's the Lancer. Down to the Castigator. This one is still pretty good. So, does the same pinning with Storm of Bolts. It is a 6-inch aura of sustained hits 1.
Okay, that's
woof. That is very good for things like Brigands. That is very good.
It itself, less good, right? Sustained hits 1, but an extra AP. But a 6-inch aura of sustained hits only for War Dogs. So it itself is less good than the Imperial one.
But it's 420, so it's 5 points cheaper. But
sure,
I don't know, man. That aura of sustained hits 1, if you're bringing a bunch of Brigands, that is very, very good.
It very much
Castigator is the Chaos one that stands out to me a lot so far.
The Castigator rocks.
I think this is better. It's the Loyal version's so good. This is so good. This is good. There's nothing else to say.
This feels a bit more of a build around. The Imperial one is a bit better on its face.
Yeah. But yeah, you could just build around this. Again, take 6 Brigands. Blah. Okay. The Acheron. Also quite, it's decent. Same gun as before. 5 up invuln against range checks. Also all the same profiles here. Everything's identical. That's why we're not covering the stats. Same thing, takes away cover, which is otherwise hard to do. And it's a 6-inch aura of, while a friendly war dog is within 6 this model, start of the fight phase, each enemy unit in the engagement range must take a battle shock test. That is nice, actually, here, because Chaos Knights, no joke, have basically no ability to cause battle shock tests, and 37 rules that key off your opponent being battle shocked. So if someone fails that battle shock test, turn 3 and on, they are -1 to hit, and you're +1 to wound them. Melee only is a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah,
because it's only +1 to wound in melee, which is where you're already usually higher strength and toughness.
I'll be honest, it's pretty funny. I don't think it's that good.
I agree. The Acheron here, just for context, is 405. Not cheap enough.
The same thing happened with the Imperial one. Has some cool rules. its damage and profile itself are just not worth the points you're paying. So you're buying a cool rule, and I'm just not into that for 405.
Yep. Then we've got the Atropos. Same stat line, 5 benevolence melee inclusive. +1, same thing, +1 hit and wound against monster vehicle and then Titanic Towering. And the 6-inch aura of War Dogs can reroll hits that target Titanic or Towering. Cool. But those aren't really around enough.
Yeah, not interested really.
Not interested. Sad. The Megara.
And also, doesn't the big one with the big gun give reroll 1s to hit aura?
Yes.
And Brigands are the best shooting one?
Yes.
And they hit on 2's base?
Yes.
So...
Yeah, it's unfortunately... Yep. Okay. We're now hitting the Chaos Knight Questoris Megara. If this is an ignore cover aura, I would actually really want to look at it. However, it's not. It is instead a 6-inch ignore, ballistic skill, and hit modifiers.
So it itself no longer ignores cover.
It does not ignore cover here, but it's AP dash at least, so cover may not have been that big a deal.
Yeah.
This isn't enough to justify them again.
It's 405.
So it's 20 points more.
Because there's 390.
It's 385.
That wasn't. Pub sub. Let's do it. I win.
All right. Still not exciting. Not exciting.
Not exciting. No, I don't know why it went up in points.
Couldn't tell you. Styrix, identical rule. Not enough.
Yeah, correct.
It's just not enough.
No,
I'd rather be rerolling 1s to hit than, because that's always useful. There's honestly not nearly as many hit mods in 10th as there was in 9th. Stealth is basically the only one. Stealth and a couple random strats.
It is nice to be able to ignore the shoot out of combat penalty.
It's nice.
It's not worth 440.
You're not investing a dude in it.
No.
That's a strat. And then we have the Moirax, which is also 170. Great. Has the exact same problems as before, except you now are competing with things like the Carnivore and the Brigand.
Yeah,
and it's
the
not.
Chaos Knight Forge World options range from good but worse than Imperial Knights to bad.
Yeah. Honestly,
bad and worse than Imperial Knights.
The Porphyrion is interesting because I think it's just so unique in its role.
I think the Porphyrion is fine because it is legitimately terrifying to get shot by.
Just terrifying. This thing's awesome. And then the Castigator, that's legit. Everything else need not apply.
Correct.
Very simple. Those 2 data sheets are interesting.
The Castigator's the only one where it's a question mark about whether it's better or worse than the Imperial one.
True. Everything else is either a lot worse or very slightly worse. The Porphyrion is very slightly worse, and that might still be good enough to make the list.
Yeah, the reroll makes a big difference there. Because every single wound is as important as possible. But
It is. But it is worse. But it's not so much worse. But then the Castigator actually can get in a conversation like, man, is this better?
It might be better. The Castigator is quite
If you get 6 Brigands in the aura of this thing, God. Not that hard to do, by the way.
No, then you shoot legitimately terrifyingly hard.
Yeah. I like the Castigator a lot. I actually want to get one now. It is the only Cerastus Knight for Chaos Knights that has appealed to me.
The Castigator was always my favorite Cerastus Knight.
It is very cool looking.
Yeah.
I'd be down to get one of these, man. Again, now that GW has announced the Plastic Lancer, I'm very hesitant to buy a Forge World Knight again. Because if I buy a Castigator, they're going to be like, here's the Lancer for sale, and the next one's the Castigator.
Or there's going to be a Castigator upgrade sprue.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily a trap to keep small knights around a big knight, as the chat is saying, but I think you can definitely have this guy kind of mid-board and have everyone else spread out around him, and he makes them hit very hard. I actually think this one is better than the Imperial one.
It really might be. But Imperial one's also good. Yeah. So that is going to wrap up where we're at for Chaos Knights. I think Chaos Knights are very much looking more towards their Codex datasheets. However, I do also think that because they have better Armigers and they've got access to this spoiler, I think Chaos Knights are set on datasheets.
Yeah, the Armigers, or the War Dogs, are way better than Armigers.
So
it's not even close.
They're embarrassingly better than Armigers.
A Brigand, a Knight player would cut off one of their limbs to get access to the Brigand.
Yeah, I'd even let you choose. Honestly, as a Chaos Knight player, if they made a loyal Brigand, pasted it over, I don't think I would play anything other than Loyal Knights.
Yeah. The Brigand is the Chaos
so
Knight.
Crazily good.
Yeah. How many points is it?
It's 150.
Whoa,
it's 20 points cheaper than the Moirax.
Yeah, no shot the Moirax sees the table.
No, the Moirax is never seeing a table in Chaos Knights. But yeah, that's gonna set Chaos Knights. I don't think you have to dip into Forge at all, but if you do, Castigator and Porphyrion are the two you look at. Everything else,
I actually really do like the Castigator.
I do too. Knights. It's very good.
Exploding 6s to hit is where you get to 100%.
There is one downside.
What?
Chaos Knights already have access to sustained hits 1 on all their War Dogs for a CP.
It's against one target.
Against one target. So an aura is really nice, but if you have to kill one thing, and you just be like, we'll just do the strat.
At that point, would you rather have that sustained hits?
Or would you rather have the reroll ones?
I will say, the Castigator is better than a Despoiler in shooting. 18 shots, twin linked. Is better.
It is.
It does not have sustained hits.
Yep.
But there's a certain amount of times where, like, rerolling, to hit doesn't matter because you just have 18 shots.
Yeah, end of the day, man. Bzz. All right. So that's going to wrap up Chaos Knights for us, and that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. If you like this content, please let us know. Give us a like on the video. Let us know in the comment section what knights you are looking forward to putting on the table. This is, we think, the last index from GW. I think we've got everything now. So we probably won't be doing these all day index reveal streams for a bit, but hopefully you like them. If you want to see more of our content, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. That way you'll get notified every time we go live. We still have a ton of 10th edition content coming up. We've got a ton of battle reports, more videos. I think we're putting out 5 videos on YouTube next week. So subscribe to the channel, get notified when we go live, and take this as an opportunity to go check out the War Room. We've got even more awesome content going up behind the War Room, and you can find it there. It's really great stuff where some of the best players in the world, such as myself, Jack Harpster, Nick Donavati, Richard Siegler, and many more, are there to teach you about the game that we all know and love. And it does bring access to the War Room Discord, which is our wonderful global community where you can just talk with a bunch of hobbyists like yourself who are very excited about this game we all play. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.